Yeah, he's in the concussion protocol right now, so you guys know how that is. Hopefully he'll be back sooner than later.
Do you have an update on Nick Bosa?
Yeah, he just got a maintenance day. Just taking care of him today.
Me again. With DJ Jones, there's no issue at all with his left shoulder?
Nope.
That's got to be a great relief for you that there's nothing. I mean, obviously, a concussion's a difficult blow, but nothing that's going to be ongoing and affect him during the season.
No, totally. He landed on it a little bit, so you found that out somehow. But we were concerned because he landed on it. He went in. We looked at his shoulder, ended up being totally fine to where he would have came to practice the next day. But he ended up having a concussion that we found out when we brought him in. So we're not exactly when it happened, but it was good that we found that out after looking at his shoulder.
Hey, Kyle, why did Ross Dwelley miss practice today?
Foot was bothering him.
Hey, Kyle, it's Jennifer. There seemed to be a few maybe miscommunications or handoff issues today. How do you feel about how your offense has performed cleanliness-wise? Do you feel like today was maybe just an off day?
No, I feel it's about where it is, and you expect it to be in your 8th practice. I mean, there's been some good things and some rusty things. As far as execution-wise, and also from guys just getting in football shape. I'd say that in all 3 phases, really. Usually it's about where you are with 8 practices, and usually you got about 12 in before the first preseason game. So it's about where you expect to be with 8. We know this is going to get turned up a lot, and we're going to have to play a lot sooner than we're used to. So that's what we're all pressing against, how to deal with some of that stuff that you're used to each year, and how to turn it up harder, because we got to gain some ground here with how quick we're going through this. But you don't want to turn stuff up too much harder, because then you go overboard, you risk hurting guys. So we're trying to balance it out pretty hard right now.
Kyle, following up on that, you'd mentioned at the start of camp that you were considering maybe doing some live tackling for guys who might be, toward the bottom of the roster, figuring it out. Have you come to a decision on that, and what all went into it if you have?
Yeah, I planned on it going into camp, but I still feel things out each day and how it's going. And right now, I'll be very surprised if I do. It's not worth it with the not having enough guys. I'm trying to get these guys all prepared with 10 less than usual, especially when you bring in the pup guys and the guys who do get these injuries that take them out for a couple days, how hard it is to prepare a team. So when you do tackle and stuff, it's risk so many other guys getting hurt, and right now I think that's too big of a risk. So we'll see if that changes. I look at everything each day and try to figure out where our team is, but as of now, I don't plan on doing any full tackling.
Hey, Kyle. Yesterday, Dante Pettis said that last year, one of the issues was that he took your criticism personally and that he's learned not to do that. And I know you talked about a little the other day, but can you expand upon how you've seen that change from him mentally?
I mean, Dante, I think he came back, and Dante and I had a pretty good talk when he came back, that he wanted to talk, and it was pretty cool hearing him tell me some of that stuff that I think he shared with you guys yesterday. And even when he said stuff like, I thought I was accepting coaching and stuff, but then when I sit back and look at it, sometimes you realize you take things personally and you don't totally hear it all. And there's a two-way street on that. I mean, our goal in everything is to get a guy better, and there's thousands of ways we can do that, and you better not do the same thing with each person. I knew Dante came in a little bit behind last year, and I tried everything I could to try to get that fire, and I didn't get that done last year with him. And I do see that as a two-way street. I love how Dante came back and accepted his part in it, but I also accept mine. I got to find a better way to get it out of him. What's cool is I think he's found a way to get out of himself right now, and it's easier for us to. I don't like having to worry about whether I'm going too hard or how I'm saying it. I just want to say it as good as I can. And usually, if guys trust you in that way, you can get that across to them. And I think both of us are getting better at that right now.
Kyle, last year you praised Trent Taylor for how he looked in camp. Is he obviously coming off the injury? It's probably difficult to to expect him to be at that same level, but is he getting close to that level? And what have you seen from him during this first week?
Yes, I think he's getting very close to that. I mean, it's just a matter of time. The more we practice and the more football shape he'll get into, the closer he'll be to that. But he's looked pretty good to where it's also a fine line on how much we want to practice him to get to that. It's kind of what I'm debating with all our players. But we know the player Trent is, and my goal is to get him healthy to the season. But I also want to give him a chance to fine-tune himself and be his best self, which only comes with reps. So we're balancing that right now. Right now, Trent's in a good spot to where he's definitely could really help us week one. I know him, like everyone else, can get in more football shape, and that's really what this debate's going to be here over these next 2 weeks.
Kyle, what have you seen from the cornerbacks in the last week that just give you confidence that you guys made the right moves by not making a big move in the offseason to bring in a starter competition, that you have your own guys here?
I mean, you always want to bring in guys and keep adding guys to compete and stuff. You're not always in that situation to do it everywhere. And we chose to go whatever's been available. We haven't been able to hit that and bring in a big corner yet, at least with free agency this year or the draft. And, we brought in Sherm a couple of years ago as a big free agent, which I think has paid off very well. And I think these younger guys, whether it's been a draft pick, whether it's been, with Akello and Mosley, whether it's Verrett coming in here as a free agent, which we got him in a very a fortunate deal for us getting a player like Verrett with the injuries he's had and everything. And it's been great to see him have a healthy camp. So all those guys, if they can just keep staying healthy and keep competing, I know there's a number of guys out there we can win with. And that's the goal here, because the more they compete, the better all of them get. The more you compete, the more there is a risk for a setback. So kind of like I'm saying with every position right now, that's what we're trying to deal with.
Hey, Kyle, what have you seen from Colton McKivitz? How is he picking up the offense, and where do you kind of see his best fit for you guys at this stage?
I mean, we drafted him originally thinking to play tackle. Then you have injuries, and you can throw him in at guard. I think he's got the ability to play center. So I think he's got the ability to go wherever we want him to go. I know he was a tackle in college, and I think that's how we saw him at first. But when you get to the NFL, I mean, especially if you're not out there starting, you better be able to help at as many as you can. And, that's why Brunskill's been very good for us getting in there. That's how he got on the field, being able to help in at a number of different positions. And McKivitz, we've moved him all over. It's tougher for a rookie to go, but he's got a chance to compete with all these other guys. And with some of these injuries that we've had so far, he's got more reps than probably usual. And we're probably going to have to keep moving him around in positions because he's got to be ready for everything. And what has been cool about him, you don't always do that to the rookies and stuff because they can't always handle it, especially without OTAs. But he, like some of our other rookies, like Ayuk and stuff, have really owned the offseason Zoom meetings and all that and really owned the playbook. So he's put in the work to where we at least can experiment with that and help us get through some practices, which is usually the main thing when you're losing guys. But also it allows you to see what your options are as a coach and where you can put guys.
What are you seeing from Jordan Reed, and is he getting closer to practicing with the team?
Yeah, Jordan, every day is kind of a day-to-day thing. And we say day-to-day. I'm almost doing it more in 4-day blocks with our practices. So I don't plan on him getting out there tomorrow. We look at him each day. We're conditioning him, trying to get him in football shape. But he's a guy that we don't want to just throw in there for the wear and tear with his history. So hopefully he's getting closer. I haven't talked to him in the last couple of days about it. I've talked to our trainers, and we'll sit here and probably evaluate it here on our off day.
Hey, Kyle, there's been a lot of talk about Brandon Ayuk. Jawan Jennings looked like he did have some progress. He made some good plays today. What has his learning curve been like?
His has been similar to Ayuk's. I think, he came in and he's been very good on the Zoom meetings and very good on the board and understanding what he's doing. You can tell he studies a lot. But both of them, when you get out there and we're calling plays and going fast and moving everyone, they realize they think they have it, but they don't have it. And that's kind of what a lot of those guys realize in preseason games, especially 1 and 2, and then they kind of get it by week 1. But I think both of them are going through that right now. I mean, they're smart guys on the board, smart guys in the classroom. We get out there and you get a little bit tired, and all of a sudden it's a lot harder to think. And that's what, when you bring up Jennings, I think he's going through that pretty strong right now because we're almost in the middle of camp. And I think Ayuk's in a similar boat.
Hey, Kyle, I wanted to follow up on what you were just talking about with Dante and it being a two-way street. What is your process like in terms of maybe just evaluating the way you coach different guys when you have this many people and personalities that you have to deal with? How do you go back and look at, say, and what am I doing right or wrong with individual guys, and how do you figure that out?
I mean, when I believe in a guy that's in his ability and what he can do, you're going to get almost every single thing possible from me, because I get frustrated when I believe in a guy and I can't see it. So I take every angle possible. I usually am just my exact self and just tell him whatever I see on film. And sometimes if a guy, for some reason it's not working, I try different approaches. Sometimes you got to shock a guy to wake him up to really understand you. Sometimes you got to really explain stuff to a guy and really tell him the whys and stuff. And some guys really don't care about the whys. You just got to be aggressive with them, and that's what they want. I think everyone is kind of their own person, and also everyone's a little bit a product of their environment. It's what they're used to and things. And I really don't care. My goal is for the guy to get better and to be his best self. And I think when players realize that about me, the more that they do, they realize that I'm doing it for a reason. And I really never ride guys that hard unless I think we can get a lot more out of them. And when I'm doing that left and right, and I've tried every single possible way, every style of coaching with someone, and they still aren't changing, then it makes it a very easy decision for me.
Kyle, Jimmy has thrown picks to Sherman in back-to-back practices. I know, obviously, you're probably not nearly as concerned about those interceptions in practice as you would be in a game, but how do you balance the way you evaluate Jimmy in terms of maybe being aggressive with those throws in practice versus how you want him to handle those situations in a game?
Practices are great because you get to experience it from practice, and you can coach it the exact same way you would in a game, but it's a little bit easier because the emotions aren't there of winning and losing the game and everyone in the world seeing it. So that's what's fun about practice. I mean, it's never fun when a guy makes a mistake, but it's always fun to coach it because you can actually get better from that for when it does count. And you talk about, I don't think those are necessarily being aggressive. That's Sherm playing with vision. Both of those passes weren't to the guy Sherm was covering, but if you sail anything over guys or you look at one guy too long and you're not knowing where he is, Sherm's just going to follow your eyes and go and come out of nowhere. And that's happened to him twice in the last 2 days, and that's something that does happen in games if you're not aware of those type of players. So it's great to remind them, hey, you got to work on your eyes here. You got to, just because you're looking here, it doesn't mean someone else isn't looking at you and showing up at the end of the play. And if no one reminds you of that, like Sherm, for an entire training camp or throughout the preseasons, and you get reminded in week one, you're like, how the hell did that just happen? And it's been bound to happen, but one of our players showed you that, so you correct it. And so it always goes back to sharpening iron. A DB, if he's squatting on every single route and covering the heck out of us, I'm hoping that we can call a go route versus him to show him, hey, yeah, you're doing good in these coverages, but we're going to run by you in this coverage. So I'm hoping we can generate that in practice so he learns from that, and that's a really good rep. All right, we got the go routes a touchdown. Now, instead of learning that in week one in a big moment, you learn it in practice, and it helps keep everybody honest. And that's the key, because you practice against the same guys, the same coverage over and over. That's why you do like scrimmages. That's why you do like some preseason games, just so you can go against something different. But, I mean, it happens to me, too. Sometimes I call plays versus our defense for an entire training camp, and I get used to all these plays being really good versus three deep. And then I get into a game, and I call the same play in a couple same situations, and it's not the same, and it's because their three deep's a little bit different than our three deep. And you got to get reminded before you go there, all right, there are different things, there's different players, and that's the stuff that you try to generate in different ways throughout camp.
Two more?
Brendan Anderson, KDOL. With the COVID pandemic that has gone on and then the social justice issues, how has the process of team building changed for you this year? And has it brought the team together more in any way because of either one of those issues?
I don't think so. I mean, I think our team was pretty close as it was. I think when you talk about COVID first, I think it hasn't brought us closer together. I think we were a lot more excited to get back to camp. I think for a lot of us, it was the first time getting back to what seemed a little bit normal for us, just doing our jobs and doing what we do for a living. So that's what COVID did, but it hasn't made us closer. I think we've always been close. And the social justice issues, I think, I mean, at least for our team, I don't, we haven't had a bunch of need to get guys together and talk. And we did when all that stuff came out, but I feel we've always understood each other pretty well for the most part on our team, and we all understand the issues, and I think we've had a lot of respect for each other in that way. So I know it's changed a lot in the world here in the last couple months, but I feel it's kind of always been the same inside this building.
Hey, Kyle. Robert Shaw was saying that the starting cornerback spot opposite Richard Sherman is wide open this offseason. How much will you contribute to that discussion with Robert and with Tony Oden? And, what are you looking for if you do sort of insert yourself into that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, there's not ever a decision on that stuff that I'm not extremely heavily involved in. I'm not the offensive coordinator. So I expect that always to be my final decision. But what it comes down to me is who covers people the best, who tackles the best, and who makes the least mistakes. And it's easy to see that stuff if you give all the same guys the opportunity and they can stay healthy throughout all this. And so you kind of get a pretty idea throughout practice who can separate themselves in those ways. And then you get to that first game and you watch how close it is in the game. Does it look the same way it is in practice? And in games, I can't always tell because I've got doing a lot of other stuff. And sometimes I'm not looking up at times, but you can always see it on that tape after. And that's something that we evaluate every Monday and something that we talk about every night after practice, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And a lot of stuff goes into that, but that's something that I'm not discussing with every single person in this building.
All right. Thanks, folks.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you guys hear me all right? This is Cam Inman. I just wanted to see, initially, what are your just first thoughts of how Cam's gone going into the final week of practices now?
What did he say? I can't hear him. Oh, I mean, camp's going pretty well, man. Yeah. The team is competing at a very high level. We have a lot of absolute monsters on both sides of the ball. We just make each other better. So, this camp has been highly competitive, but, I feel like we're getting better every day.
Hey, Trent, how do you look at the fact that you guys aren't going to have any preseason games? Is it almost an advantage for you because that means it's 3 more practices of going up against Nick Bosa instead of playing a handful of snaps? Second part of that, Nick gave a pretty good scouting report on what he's seen from you, how you've helped him. Could you also talk about how much he's helped you during this time, kind of knocking the rust off?
Right. The preseason, not having those games, I ain't gonna say it's something that obviously nobody likes to play in preseason, but me having a year off, I was really looking forward to the preseason just to kind of feel that game atmosphere again, and just to kind of knock those nerves down a little bit. It's a little bit foreign to me going into a regular season game with no preseason action, but everybody dealing with the same thing. But luckily, I do have one of the best rushers in the league to go up against every day. And Nick he's better than I even thought he was. And I already knew he was top 3, 4 in the game. But just going up against him every day, seeing how smart he is, seeing how hard he works, and just seeing how seriously he takes the game, I honestly see his trajectory as being one of the best in the game. When it's all said and done, I think when you say who's the best pass rusher all around DN, I think Nick Bosa may probably be the first name to come out of a lot of people's mouth. And, it's a blessing for me because I'm able to go against him every day. We're able to talk, kind of walk each other through how we're thinking. And it's been a great help to me. And I couldn't even have planned a better camp, just as far as learning-wise and knocking the rust off.
Hey, Trent, you mentioned last time we talked to you just how excited you were to be back after the long layoff. I'm wondering if there's been any moments since you've been back here the last couple of weeks where you've just felt like you're home again in some ways. Is like just football being back in your life and maybe kind of reigniting a spark in you in some way?
Yeah, definitely. Having football back in my life is kind of it's reinvigorating. It's definitely a help. As going through what I went through and just being in the dumps for 16 months and coming out here with a team that we're all like-minded, all pros, everybody working their tail off day in and day out. I mean, it demands me to be a better player, and I feel the pressure to be that, that Trent Williams of old, where I could step in and help this team.
Hi, Trent. A lot's been made, obviously, of the fact that you're familiar with the Shanahans, but I'm curious about your offensive line coaches here with the 49ers and how you've been meshing with them, because I know that you have a couple of very respected minds in that room.
Yeah, we do. And JB is obviously a well-respected coach, and I heard a lot of good things about him prior to getting here, and we've hit it off extremely well. He's a player's coach. Everybody loves him. And to complement that, we have Chris Furster, who, has one of the biggest wealth of knowledges of the game that I've been around. And he actually, I cut my teeth with him my first 5 years in the NFL. So obviously we know each other very well. We have a family-type relationship. So having both of those guys to kind of help me get back in the swing of things it's been a blessing.
Hey, Trent. Kyle talked about it's very difficult to keep the balance, but by letting you guys kind of go for it at practice, but then also keep you kind of held back because you have such little time before you play that game. How are you finding the balance between kind of getting back on the field and then not working too hard where you overextend yourself?
I'm not too concerned about working too hard at this point. I think I've had a lot of time off, so hard work is definitely what I need. I mean, those guys just finished the season in February, so, I can understand the load management with those guys. They played a ton of football, had a very long season last year. But as far as me, it's been a minute for me, so the hard work is something that I welcome and something that I feel like that's necessary for me to become the player I need to be.
Hey, Trent, I know you talked about, coming in and being struck by, I guess, professionalism and the hard work of these guys. Obviously, the way last year ended, I know you weren't part of it, but it, was a pretty bitter defeat. Have you gotten a sense whether just listening to these guys or just the vibe, I don't know, kind of a serious quest is going on here to get back to the Super Bowl and win it?
Yeah, I think one thing about this team is that we're super confident. And, they proved it last year. And, even now with watching the film from the Super Bowl, I can feel the cringe every time that film comes on. And everybody still is pretty much, holding a grudge about the last game. And they can't wait to get out there and kind of start that quest again. And, I'm just happy to be a part of it. And hopefully I can get back to the big dance with those guys and, we can have a different outcome. But, to be on this team, they're definitely motivated and they're definitely driven by the way that last year resulted.
Hey, Trent, just looking at or just I want to know what your scouting report of yourself is after the first week, because you were worried about the rust, and I mean from our side it doesn't look like there's much rust at all.
Oh, there's definitely rust, and you know, I'm getting there. I'm getting back to myself. Obviously, you know, football is not foreign to me. I've done it all my life, so you know, it's easy to kind of one rep here, two reps here to look good, but I'm going for the consistent, you know, good reps and continue to stack them, and you know, and then that when I feel like I've been kind of playing not flawless, but closer to mistake-free football as possible, then I feel like all the rust is gone. Because the rust is not just physically, it's mentally as well.
Trent, one of the guys who seems to slide under the radar, at least in terms of who's talked about a lot, is Laken Tomlinson. What kind of camp has he had process for you to
He's been, you know, right in my hip pocket, you know, ever since the day I got here, just helping me kind of learn the nuances of this offense, and you know, just being there is constant positive reinforcement for me, and we kind of do the same thing for each other. And you know, I talk to Lake a lot. You know, I tell him he's got everything that you would need in an all-pro guard. He's got the size, the power, the movement, the brains. He got the skills. He got it all. And I think last year Lake really put it together. If you watch him on film, I think he played as one of the best guards in the league last year. Believe it or not, no matter what people say, you watch the film, I think he proved it. And for him, it's just about having another consistent year, and I think everybody will start to deem him as a Pro Bowl, All-Pro player, because that's the talent he has, and that's the goals he set out for himself.
All right, thanks, Trent.
This is cool, I guess.
Hey, Solomon. It's been a challenging offseason for a lot of people. You've been kind of one of the advocates for mental health. Can you share kind of what you've been going through, how you're dealing with everything, and kind of what you've seen from your teammates?
Definitely, you know, with everything going on in the world right now, between COVID and all the racial and social injustice, you know, it's a hard time for mental health. You know, with people losing jobs, people not having a place to go, just so much uncertainty in the world. It's a really hard time for people. You know, so just been trying to speak and trying to really put a huge focus on mental health right now, and just to, you know, show people that, you know, it's really such an important and special time to pour into yourself, and just care about yourself and love on yourself. You know, find new ways, find ways to work on yourself, work on your mental like you work your physical. You know, it's just such a hard time for people right now. So, you know, I've just been trying to, you know, to keep speaking, you know, keep moving along with the advocacy of mental health, especially during these times.
Solomon, I know you guys are cross-trained to play both nose and three technique, but for somebody like you who has spent a lot of time at defensive end and who isn't the biggest guy, what are the challenges of playing nose tackle for you? And also, second part, have you gained weight this offseason?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've gained some weight this offseason. I mean, I prefer playing inside, so I like it. I like playing nose. I like playing three tech. The challenges are that I'm smaller and I don't weigh as much as most defensive tackles. So, I have no choice but to get off. I have no choice but to attack. So that is the biggest thing for me. Being a smaller interior defensive lineman, you have to be able to get off. You have to play well with your hands. You have to play low, and so that's what I have to do every play to make it in there. But I definitely, it's where I feel natural at. It's it's where I made my money in college. So it's where I feel good.
Hey, Solomon, when you got a chance to go back and look at last year, how did you feel last season went for you? And how big do you view this season for you, just in terms of kind of establishing yourself and maybe a long-term future with this franchise?
Last season was an incredible season. Just in general, for me, I thought I was going to be able to play more interior, but, we had a lot of injuries, so I had to move around a lot. And, I learned a lot about the game. We had an amazing crew. We had, Nick, D, Eric, Defo. I learned so much from those guys, that starting four. It was incredible to learn from them. To be able to win and lose so many close games, it was a great learning experience. I learned a lot from Coach Chris. Really got to feel, my niche in his scheme. So, I personally take it as a great year. I didn't get the stats and the productivity that I wanted, obviously, but, I learned a lot and it made me take that next step into becoming my own. And so, this year is huge for me. Obviously it's a contract year, but, that's not what is important to you. That's not what is in the back of my mind. I take it as a year, to truly to become into myself. I'm back inside. I'm back in the interior where I played in college. Where I got drafted for in college. So, I'm back in a spot where I can go wreak havoc. I can go play. So, it's a year for me to, just to go off and play. Just go have fun, go ball out. I got nothing to lose. I'm here to play for my teammates, play for those next to me, and go ball.
Hey, Solomon, you just said you got nothing to lose. I was going to ask you, that there's a burden of expectations that comes with being a number 3 draft pick, and I'm sure you felt some of that through your career. For any number of reasons, do you feel like some of that is off your shoulders, and do you feel, I don't know, a little less burdened by some of that?
I feel like that will always be on my shoulders, with the label of being the third pick, but I've mentally learned to put that behind me and to, just not, that's not what I'm playing for. I'm playing to be the best me no matter what. And, what the expectations I worry about, the expectations I put on myself, and those are higher than anybody else's. And that's what I got to go back to every day. That's what I got to wake up and look in the mirror and look at every day. So, I'm just worried about, being the best me I can be every play, every day, and for this team.
Brendan Anderson, KDOL. With the pandemic and the social justice movement, how has the team building process been this season?
It's been hard, not being able to be with each other during OTAs. It was tough to not be around each other. So coming back was such a blessing and just felt amazing to be around the guys. But we've done some, some great things. Our organization, JED, donated $1 million to social injustice in the area. That is absolutely incredible just to see our owner, take the first step to, try to address and fix a problem. But as a team, we've had the guys step up talking about, exercising your voting rights, all the wrong that's going on in the world and what we need to work on. With COVID, talking about mental health, we have a lot of people out here doing amazing work. This locker room is filled with amazing, incredible guys, and it shows every day.
Hey, Sully, you said that you had gained some weight. What did you play at last year, and where are you now?
So last year I played anywhere from 260 to 270. My weight fluctuated a lot, but really kind of around 265. But right now I'm like 280, 282, and been steady with it, feeling good at it, and I had to work hard to get up there, but it feels good.
I would think that 282-pound nose tackles are fairly uncommon in the league. When you look around, is there a player or two who you watch, who you model your game after, who have done it at your size?
I would say the people who I've seen do it at that size, Aaron Donald, Michael Bennett played all over the line. Grady's around Grady's a heavier guy, but he's a smaller figure guy. Just looks smaller, but he's not small. Those are some guys who I watch go in there and make plays. The league is definitely moving to guys who can be quicker and more explosive, and those are some guys to look up to, and I've watched over my career.
Hey, Solomon, what I've noticed is you've had this like swim arm over that you've incorporated. Was that new? And would you say you have a go-to move?
What was the last part of the question? Sorry.
Would you say that you have like a go-to pass rush move?
Yeah, definitely you always have a fastball. I've just been out there playing, really just trying to get off. My main focus right now is getting off the ball and getting into the alignment and then reacting off of that. So, I always want to attack them with power. Then after that, attack edges. So that's what I've been working on and just trying to, perfect it and become the best player I can be.
Awesome. Thank you, Solomon.
Thank y'all.
Hey, Kendrick. It's Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Kyle Shanahan actually said that you have become kind of a leader in the wide receivers room. Can you talk about kind of your progression? He said it was kind of funny that you're considered one of the vets and you're one of the leaders, but he said it kind of in a proud way. Talk about how you've become a leader.
Yeah, just being consistent with the group, with coaches, taking coaching well, being consistent with my teammates, just building relationships throughout the building. I think that was the biggest thing, being myself every day, not changing. And I think that's how I built a close relationship with Kyle and just the whole coaching staff. And they just trust me. So, they've been trusting me for the last year, 2 years now. So just being year 4, just taking that step up and being an example. If it's a bad example, good example, I'm willing to be the example, whatever I got to do to help my teammates get better. Or, if I got to be the example, then I will. If I don't, I don't. Or just being that guy that I've always wanted to be. So just playing that role.
Hey, Kendrick, it's Nick. The other day, Brandon Ayuk was talking about how the emphasis a lot that he hears is on yards after catch, and something he didn't hear a lot in college but does there. I'm curious, how often do you guys as a group talk about it, and is it something you noticed when you got here, that the emphasis on that maybe as opposed to in college?
Yeah, we always talk about drop stepping, catching the ball immediately, drop stepping, getting upfield. And Ayuk, his stats are amazing from college, his yak stats. I noticed, and he's been doing a good job drop stepping. We've all just emphasized it in the room, so we know, just like the catch I had against the Rams, just drops him falling right back into the first down. Those kind of examples throughout the group, just to make sure we secure the first down, so we don't have to go to 4th down and short or 3rd and short. We just go to the next game plan of calls.
Hey, Kendrick, it's Cam Inman here. You finished practice with a nice touchdown catch. Can you kind of explain just, I guess, not only that catch, but also how Jimmy, what his demeanor is maybe after he threw that pick to Sherman for a second straight day?
Oh, yeah, overall great play call. O-line had the pocket really clean and just gave me time to run my route. We were kind of teasing on Sherman a little bit. He's kind of sits in our depth areas and stuff, and we had to just kind of make a move out of his spot. Kyle called a good play, and me and Jimmy connected well. Good ball by Jimmy. Was able to let me run after and try to score. So good play overall. But Jimmy's demeanor, he just seemed ready to throw it. We kind of know this is the first read. This is what we're looking for. And we just have a good connection right now. So just keeping it crisp and me running a good route and just getting open as much as I can for him so he can make a good throw.
Hey, Kendrick, it's Matt. Just kind of curious with, the level of experience at the wide receiver position. Basically, the 3 guys with the most experience in the NFL game are guys that have just been added here in the past week. J.J. Nelson, Tavon Austin, and Jerron Brown. Have you had an opportunity to really get to know those guys and talk to them and talk about the craft of playing wide receiver at this level? And what have you been able to kind of glean from them that you can help for your game?
Yeah, all those guys I've noticed around the league since I've been here. JJ, Jerron up there in Arizona. I first seen him when I first got in. I noticed they were together. And Tavon, always just been a fan of him since his college days, seeing him making highlight plays. But overall, those guys are great players. They know their roles. They're here to help us any way they can. More legs in the room. We're dealing with injuries right now, so they're helping a bunch. And just their vet presence, helps me look how I'm supposed to be each and every day. They're older than me, so I just respect my vets. Whoever's older than me, I tend to give them more respect than others. I respect all my teammates, but, those vet presences are just a help in itself. So they got a lot of questions. They're still learning the program, too, and the plays. So I'm kind of helping them here and there, too. So that's kind of another role I've been playing. So it helped me, just little things here and there that they've learned throughout playing their little 6-7 years. And just me helping them if they got a question here and there, what they got to do on this, what kind of technique, I'll give them a little whisper, help them help their game, I'll help them speed up the process.
Hey, Kendrick, I seem to recall you weren't able to take part in off-season practices at all as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you came into training camp after that. I guess given that experience, and I'm sure how challenging that was, what are your impressions been with the way Ayuk has handled things so far? And is he, I don't know, further ahead than you expected him to be, given some of those challenges?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no OTAs. They kind of dealt with it too. Not being able to go out there, just doing Zoom meetings, not being able to be with the team fully, which is tough. So yeah, I felt that, and they definitely felt it too. Similar. They kind of got meetings, kind of helped probably, but it's not like going out there and feeling it, motioning and having motion prep, getting off the ball, hearing the snap count, knowing when the snap count's coming off. We have dummy calls. So it's just tough to get that feel when you have Zoom meetings. So how he's developed, even all the rookies, so far, they've looked pretty crisp. They definitely look developing quicker than I feel like I did, due to those Zoom calls. I couldn't have no Zoom calls when I was a rookie. So they just look more polished, more ready. Those Zoom calls did a lot more than we thought. So it was a benefit for them. And you could see the work Ayuk's put in, Jawan, they're out there making plays. So it's good to see them processing it quicker than me and a couple other players probably did. But it's hard overall. So, you have to be locked in. It's not going to be easy for anyone. And they've just taken the discipline to learn it, and they've been processing quicker for them.
Hey, Kendrick, this is Chris. What kind of camp is Trent Taylor having, and what do you think the offense was missing without him last year?
Yeah, Trent, man, he's a third down guru, man. He just knows how to get open. You don't really see him too much in the outside or nothing like that, but when he comes in and, his name is called, he always seems to make the play, or he's always open every time you see his name called. And I wasn't sure about your other question. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Was that it? What was missing last year? Oh, missing. Just his presence. He's a guy we can rely on. That's what I truly feel about Trent. Me and him both played F, and I've learned from him first. He was out there playing F, and I watched him really heavily. We're the same class, and he just was just on top of everything. You could just tell he wanted to be a game time player. He's a game time player, practice player. And you could just feel it when he's out there, man. He's been making plays all camp. So very proud of that dude, man, what he's been going through. And he's just unfazed by it. He's back to his old self. So it's exciting to see. And he'll have an amazing year. I know it's coming.
Hey, Kendrick, this is Jake Hutchinson. You just mentioned, you and Trent both play F. Do you anticipate that you might move around a little bit more and move outside of the slot?
Yeah, I just expect to go everywhere. I don't really put myself in one box. Kyle, he's versatile. He could put us anywhere. And so I've been everywhere. I've been at X, F, Z. So I'm kind of just can go everywhere. And that's what I've trained myself to do. Be, versatile everywhere. Go be able to do everything because I want my name to be called in any scenario. And if you don't know everything, then you just can't play fast. So, yeah, I feel like I'll be everywhere. I don't know. I just got to see how it goes, play day by day.
Hey, Kendrick, Trent Williams just said that when you guys watch film from the Super Bowl, everyone kind of cringes at how it ended. Can you talk a little bit about that and that feeling of having unfinished business and needing to get back there?
Yeah. Today in team meeting, Kyle showed some plays from the Super Bowl and just how many chances we had. That's what crushes us so bad. That's what all you can ask for is chances. And we had about 3, I feel like, to put the game away, offense and defense-wise, and we just didn't finish. I just feel like everything happens for a reason, though, more motivation for us, not get too big-headed in situations like that or be too cocky. I feel like we kind of felt like we were going to win when it was up 10 points with the ball and stuff like that. And when you get that kind of mindset or feeling, then things tend to go the other way. So just trying to learn from stuff like that, not getting too high on the game, too low, just being medium and treating it like another game. And it just sucks to lose.
Hey, Kendrick, Kyle Posey, Niners Nation. I got a couple for you. So first off, love the shirt.
Thank you.
I noticed that you've been running more routes down the field this season. So was that like a focal point knowing that? And what did you work on this offseason? And then just talking about your shirt again, how important is it for you to use your platform to speak about social injustice? Because you've been active all summer about that.
Yeah, just putting myself in position, showing the coaches I've been working on different styles in my game, just trying to get open. if I get those opportunities on those deep routes, you know, just to make them so Kyle trusts me in the game to call them. Simple as that. My shirt, got this from one of my friends. Yeah, just bringing awareness to the cause, you know, man. A lot of injustice, people not treating people right, and just there's not a lot of awareness to it, man. So it's been growing, and I just want to, you know, put my little 2 cents in any way I can and just keep the awareness up, man.
Hey, Kendrick, it's David. Just a little lighter spirited question about the start of practice. It seems that every time the cameras are on you, you're dancing, and you and George seem to have a little ritual where George always kind of headbutts you.
Yeah.
I'm wondering when that started and what kind of juice that gives you before practice.
Oh, yeah, man. Me and George, just silly guys, man. Knocking the rust off, just getting into it, playing around, man, keeping it loose. But, yeah, that started like last year. We just always be joking around, dancing, and then George has all his little wrestling moves, so I guess that's just what he started. But it's funny, though. People love it, so shout out to George. All right, thanks, KB. Thanks, guys.